We're here, Power of Morning Routines, EP1 with E.T. Stanton. Here we go. Firstly, though, what I did want to ask, do you have a morning routine? If so, what's the first three things you do in the morning?
I mean, look, like the way I see it is, there's wants, there's shoulds, and there's musts.
Okay, I like that.
So
Elaborate.
wants is what you want to do in the morning. You know, what you personally want to do.
Yeah.
Must is like there's things that you, like for health benefits and things, must do in the morning to achieve that. And should is like things you should do in order to keep a healthy, balanced lifestyle. You know what I mean? And things like that as well. So for me, I have a mixture of those things because it's some things I know I should do.
Yeah.
Some things things like that. Some things I know I must do, but I don't do. But I know that I should do, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a very fine line where I'm like,
well,
okay.
if you can then, can you give us one must that you do or must do in the morning?
Yeah.
And then so on and so forth.
I feel like they're really good. So when I wake up, so I've tried a lot of different like methods of waking up. I've recently actually started waking up around about 4:15, 4:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And when I get up, actually used to be a very big struggle. Like I'm not used to be a morning person.
I'm at that stage now.
So it used to be a very big struggle where I actually have to dial it back from, they used to be like 7 a.m. You know what I mean? Because the only thing that helped me wake up early is because I used to live quite far away from work, man.
Yeah.
So now I have to wake up early in order to make it there on time, you see what I mean? So again, the things I have to do and must do, you know what I mean? Go to get early to, and things like that as well. But now that I live closer to obviously work, wake up at 4:30, and when I wake up, I'm just there lying in bed for like 15. And the things you shouldn't do is go on your phone, you know, to prevent that screen time because, you know, they say the screen with your eyes and your retinas and things when you wake up, you know what I mean? Then the things you want to do, you know, people want to do that. They don't want to be on their phone. They don't want to, you know, just get straight up and, you know, not have breakfast or whatever the case may be. But yet again, they do that, you know what I mean? Because it's habits. And like people don't understand habits unless you start like evaluating and auditing your time and saying like, yo, this is actually where my time gets allocated to, and then saying, you're like, okay, this is why I'm not doing that.
You know consciousness. What I mean?
Exactly. And then you say if you audit that time, you can take that time and put it in the things that you should be doing. You know what I mean, and things like that. So when I wake up at 4:30, when I'm on an on week, wake up at 4:30, I will lie in bed, obviously there for about 15, 20 minutes listening to a book or a podcast of some sort. Usually it's Jay Shetty's podcast with a lot of different people that he brings on, from Kobe Bryant to Ed Milet to Andy Elliott. All these people are like highly, heavily business focused or very, very motivational types,
like
you know, life, exactly, business. And they're not successful because of like money, they're successful because of their habits. That's why they're, you know, more known for their habits and the way that they've created things, you know what I mean? As well. Now, waking up in the morning at 4:30, a lot of, you know, famous and successful people go anywhere from 3 a.m. to upwards. You know, Dwayne The Rock as well, that's one thing. He woke up at like 3:15 or something, bro.
Sure.
You know what I mean? As breakfast and things, because he looks at it as like no one else is awake that time. People are sleeping, getting their beauty sleep, whatever the case may be. You 3 hours ahead of everyone else waking up at a normal 6 a.m. You know what I mean? So it's like 3 hours added up over the course of the week. 21 hours. You 21 hours ahead, nearly a day ahead of everyone else, if you think about it.
One thing that, just to interrupt you for a sec, is like, I think you guys are doing this, either you or Lokes at the moment, like just being conscious of it, breaking down your days into like 3 separate parts, you know? Because then you can, like, let's just say from 7 till 1, for example, you can do like your like employee work, like your normal work. Then after that, your second half of the day can be your business work, like your personal things, like growing your business. Then thirdly, from there, the last half of your day can be personal or like improvement or something like that. You know? Which I've taken into consideration since then.
There's definitely a lot of different methods because that there like breaks it up. I think I saw it on one of the guests that's on Jay Shetty's podcast. But then again, there's a book that I've also got as well. It's talking about the 4-hour work week. And it talks about breaking down your day to 4 hours. Sorry, the 4-hour work week. 4 hours a week that you're working.
What?
Yeah, bro. Like I was looking at it like, okay, so how does that now break down? It's like the things that you do and implement in your life make it so accessible for you to be able to do what you need to do, that your life is so fluid that when you wake up, all you need to do across the whole week is literally put 4 hours in, because your business and everything is that it runs by itself. You know what I mean?
It's like automated.
Yeah, exactly. That automated, like it doesn't need any work,
like
because you've put in the work already. But then obviously, flip side, you got people breaking down their day into 3 full days.
Yeah.
Where one person has like a 1 8-hour day. These men have 3 8-hour days, but essentially in 3 hour, 3 blocks and things like that, like you say.
Yeah.
Which I think is, to start, is actually really, really good. You know what I mean? And to be able to feed your brain with positive knowledge in the morning, to allow yourself to subconsciously take the information in. Because sometimes when you're talking to someone and things like that, bro, you don't even realize that the stuff that you've been listening to and like reading, you actually, it gets locked into your brain, into your subconscious. So when you're talking, it comes out. And you're like, wait, what the heck? Where did I hear that? Or where did I see that? Or something? You know what I mean? It's coming from things that you've learned or heard or something like that as well. And things like that. So that's what obviously you should be doing, I feel, in the morning, filling your brain with positive information.
Yeah.
Then also another big thing is drinking water in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bruh, check this number. My Bali in NZ. So my grandma, my dad's mom, she passed away of lung cancer, né? She was the first female car mechanic in the whole of South Africa. Yo.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a newspaper article, all random stuff. I was like, oh, that's on. She later died of lung cancer, but it was from the fumes and stuff from the mechanic and stuff. You check? Safe. Years later now, we're in NZ. My dad's coughing, no cough, for like 10 months, bruh. My dad thought that he had lung cancer.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing all these checks, random, blah, blah. This one night, I literally was talking about it to my dad like 2 days ago. He woke up in the middle of the night and like he had a dream, man, or vision. Sorry, an out of body experience. That's what he called it, an out of body experience, where he woke up and he saw God sitting at the edge of his bed, and I don't know what happened. He said, but what he took from it is what God told him to drink water, and it was specific, bro. 4 glasses of water every morning when you wake up. Nothing else goes into your body. Just that. That's for cleansing out. Deep cleansing your body. Bruh, my dad started doing that out of nowhere. Gone, bruh. No coughing. Like, from deadly, bruh. Out here, when I go to bed, that deep phlegm cough, you check. And every night I'm like, okay, some nights I'm thinking like, hey, that's pretty bad, nah, I need to check the Bali here. You know what I mean? Every time, when I was at uni and things, I'd look into heavily, because when I'm speaking to my parents, like, my Bali coughing, you check. So when I'm studying, I'm like, okay, how do I look, or how do I help, or what the case may be, and everything I'd help or to show him or anything like that, nothing would have helped. But I was like, it's now science
crazy.
versus. That's where I saw it's science versus, when people say versus God. Science cannot prove, because people say that seeing is believe number.
Yeah.
But that right there, I just saw it within. You know what I mean? From a prayer to a out of body experience to it being gone is wild.
And
you know
then,
what I mean?
like on that, like. We're just elaborating on what you're saying, science versus God, which we're going to have a completely different podcast about religion. But just to touch on that, science versus God, like a lot of the things, even in today's world, where let's just say something happens, like a miracle, for example, and then science can't explain nothing. And then people are still quiet about it. Like, oh, it must be something they haven't found yet. Something like that.
Exactly.
Instead of the simple solution
answer.
that's right there.
Exactly.
But that's another topic for another time.
But so sorry, coming back to the morning routine thing. So that obviously, to put it in a nutshell, there's definitely things that I do in the morning, which I feel consist of waking up, obviously 4:30. I do have water in the morning now when I wake up.
Yeah.
Because obviously for that reason, water cleanses a deep cleanse of your body. I do meditation. So I do about 20 minutes. I need to actually up that. Like, things I should be doing. But things that I do, 15 to 20 minutes of meditation every morning.
Okay.
Where I literally just sit there. Sometimes, most mornings I put something on YouTube, and just like a guided meditation.
Yeah.
Pardon me. And just sit there, like in my own thoughts, and because that's the time they say it's not only meditating, it's the time when you're reflecting on your actions, on life, on like where you want to go. That's the time where ideas in your head are being built and like are being designed, is when you're still. But most people, they say they're scared to sit still is because they're scared to build an idea for themselves what they think they can't achieve.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
That's the fear factor.
You're there in that silence, and you're like, well, there's nothing else here. It's just me in the silence. Now, what am I thinking about?
Yeah.
Like Jay Shetty says in his podcast, one of the monks took them on this trip through through the forest, and they were all laughing about things that they're scared of. One of the topics in this book, Think Like a Monk, is called fear. And they speak about fear, and he's like, they're talking about things that they fear, and he sat them down and things like that, on the floor in the ashram, so they call it, and it was like hay and things like that. He's like, it was unpleasant to sit down, man.
Yeah.
And they were all talking about things, and one of the monk that were there with him was like, aren't you afraid of the snake skin that you saw in the thing? They're all laughing and blah blah. And the monks brings them back together and goes, what you need to, this is an actual exercise. Sit there in silence, close your eyes. And the reason why it says close your eyes is because when you start seeing, your brain starts, getting distracted with other things, processing other things. So close your eyes and you just sit there and it's like, what are you really afraid of? And you keep asking yourself that, you start getting to the root cause. So you keep asking, what am I really afraid of? And then because your body, he says your brain uses mechanisms like making a joke or something or thing to prevent your body or your mind from really going into that deeper thought, you know what I mean?
Like a protection
Exactly,
mode.
you know what I mean? So you go into that protection mode and things like that. So I was like, that's actually wild, because that's some of the things that when I sit there, or make a joke or something, if I really think of something, okay, that's definitely resonates with me, you know what I mean? If I'm going to be honest and things, I'm like,
No, I feel that.
And then, so that's like, and he asked, and he's like, what are you really, really afraid of? You know what I mean? And it came down to the fact of like, he was just afraid of becoming a monk or going down this path of self-fulfillment because he thought that everyone else would look at it like, just having time off to talk about fulfillment of life. What, you know what I mean? And he was but the deepest fear behind that was actually disappointing his parents. Because the subconscious, you know what I mean? So there's he's basically he talks about there's a deeper fear behind everything. And and there's definitely like an uncovering thing.
Underlying factor,
you know what I mean, of everything and things like that as well. But what were we saying before?
No, that was pretty much what I was going to ask. But then again, going back to morning routines, like what I've now come to terms with and done some research, that's like science behind it, like especially how our body adapts to like time and sleep, even though it's like time is like a man-made thing. Our body obviously adapts to everything we do. So I think it was like a biological clock that we all live under, a 24-hour clock. So like for the last how many years you've got up at 4 o'clock, like for example, to make it make sense, I know now you in the past couple of days have been trying to wake up on your natural body clock. But like for example, you won't wake up like after work hours or something. Your body's just used to getting up at a certain time, and stuff like that, like exactly like your biological clock, and stuff like that. Like our bodies obviously follow that 24-hour clock and releases hormones and stuff like that. But the main thing that I got from morning routines is that first hour is super like important to the rest of your day. Especially like on a mental scale of things. Because what I figured out is in the first hour of awakening is the highest your stress levels get at the most point of the day. So like your mind will physically be at its most stress point within that first hour of waking up.
So like for me, to stop you there, what do you reckon for yourself? Because from going someone that wants to wake up early and things like that, you know what I mean, and knowing what you should be doing and what you're currently doing, what do you think is there? Do you think there's like top 3 things that for people who haven't gone into the reading side of things, that like don't want to still do the research and things? Is there something that is like, because obviously it's not like a get rich quick scheme type, or get, get fit quick scheme, or whatever the case may be, get mindful. But is there 3 or 2 things that you feel like, if they'd done this, I feel like you'd be better.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you reckon?
But it's like, again, touching on what you said, because I feel like you've brought it up like perfectly as well. Like the biggest thing is that no phone thing in the morning. That would be the one thing that I would recommend. Like, obviously you're going to have your alarm that you're going to have to touch your phone, whatnot, but everyone goes on their phones, check their notifications, see if someone messaged them, if they missed something. Like, give yourself room, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to meditate before you even check that. you know?
Yeah.
And then just one step at a time. And then the second one, like you mentioned, hydrating. Like, we all know how important that is for our body, but it's still not the first thing we do, you know? And we're made up of what? How much % water?
Just.
Yet we don't do that first thing. Most people don't even drink enough water a day, you know? And if you can start your morning like that, that's my ideal situation of what.
No, that's it. And that's why the human body is so, like, peculiar, bro. Because the thing is, like, listen to this. Like you just said, people don't even drink enough water and things like that, you know. But your body runs on what's literally inside. People don't eat for days and whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? That's the other thing, you know what I mean? Do you have breakfast in the morning?
No, I don't.
That's
another thing that I need to work on.
Yeah. What do you have found? Because obviously for me, I didn't eat breakfast in the past. One, because I just woke up too late. That was one. Wake up too late. Two, like, after obviously, you know, smoking the previous night, heavily, not obviously weed and things like that, you know what I mean? It suppresses your appetite. And that's another thing that obviously you've had to deal with, and other, you know, obstacles that I had to deal with as well. Which I can honestly say that I've definitely changed that aspect of, you know, even I do enjoy, obviously, you know, smoking with the boys and whatever the case may be. There's still that fine line of obviously, okay, it's now 11 o'clock, 11:30. Now I'm, you know, having another
ruining
smoke,
the next day.
you know what I mean? I've always that conscious thought now of like, hey, it's going to impact my morning wake up, you know, and sometimes I do still have to talk, and it's tough to wake up the next morning, but I can't blame anything else because I already made that decision the previous night.
Exactly.
I already know where that decision has come from, you know what I mean? But breakfast, I feel like, is a very, very big, especially if you're training, but also for your mind, you know what I mean? Like, to, you know, get food into your system, so your body, and obviously that first hour, like you say, you're using meditate, you're drinking water, you're doing your own thing, listening to some stuff, then obviously you're eating something, I feel. So your body, for me now, if I don't eat anything, like, my body, like, I feel like it's eating itself. Not even weigh a lot, but I weigh like 67 kg, 66.8, I checked this morning. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
For me, I feel like it's even more vital because my metabolism is through the roof. You know what I mean? So if I don't eat, and I start to get to that point where my stomach starts grumbling, I know it's game over. You know what I mean?
Mine's like not the opposite, but like I go through a phase where, like, well, when I was playing sports, obviously we'd have trainings in the morning and afternoons. And in the morning, for me personally, like, if I ate, like, my stomach would be upset during training. So then I would just like have like a banana or up and go or something light, like early in the morning, then give my time to digest. But even that, like, at the time didn't work for me and my body and my routine, blah, blah, blah. You know, whereas like nowadays at work, like, we're kind of forcing ourselves to have like overnight oats or something, like, you know, to force us to get something in our body.
Do you think it's because people don't know what to eat in the morning?
Definitely. Like, for me, that was a part at one stage, but I know it wasn't the most factor, but for sure there'll be people that.
Because I feel like, one, the cooking, two, knowing what to make makes like a big part. Because in the past, I'll be like, if I didn't know how to make something, then I'm like, I'm just gonna make this, but I don't want to eat that again. You know what I mean? Same thing again. But now I'm like, okay, let me whip up this. I can make that, put that in there, or anything. I'll just eat. You know what I mean? So I think like that plays a big part. Exactly. I can make a lot of variations and things like that as well. You know what I mean? But as obviously, I was coming to the second point there. Obviously, what is a good idea of a morning routine? And that's why I was asking you those three things. Do you think there's anything that you want to, that people can incorporate instantly to, for it to take effect? And I definitely think that screens one is a major one. You know what I mean?
Like, sorry to interrupt you. One thing that we all know about, like, everyone's got a phone, and we all use the screen time thing to try limit our screen time.
Bro, I can say I'm up here in the 7 hours, bro. Like
a day, like majority of people, though.
Exactly, you know what I mean? I'm up there, but you can just say, like, if, like, that's where another thing, coming back to that Think Like a Monk book, I recommend that book for anyone, by the way. That book is top.
By who?
Jay Shetty. Think Like a Monk. It's got an audio book on Spotify. If you have Spotify, you can get the audio book. Free book on YouTube, whatever the case. That book changes lives.
Yeah, if you don't like reading, there's plenty of options.
Yeah, exactly. But coming back to, he says, like, auditing your time, you know what I mean? He goes, there's 24 hours in a day. If you use 7 hours on your phone, that's still, 17 hours left. Then you take out 8 hours for sleeping, that's 9 hours in a day. Take out another 4 hours to do your own stuff. You still have 5 hours extra with being on your phone for 7 hours. Like, what do you...
Like, imagine the time that you could have doing... Yeah, like you're saying, like the rock, for example, that imagine just taking an hour off your screen time. adding that to that 7 hours a week, you are ahead of someone else. You know, putting yourself like
exactly
at a different level or different.
Then again, it's like I feel like we as adults as well, bro. Like I feel like adults are like big babies as well, because in that sense, when you like, you know, when parents are, you know, they obviously their kids are small and they give them the screen, obviously when they're crying, to be able to compensate for the crying and stuff. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That is like literally we're like adults. We wake up in the morning and we go on our phone to give our brain the dopamine effect.
That's a good way to think.
You know what I mean? So we're literally big babies in the aspect. We're rewarding ourselves for doing something incorrect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you think about it like that, we're rewarding ourselves and giving our screen, going on the screen, but we know it's wrong. Yeah. We know we shouldn't be doing that, but it's the easiest thing. It's the easy way.
And habit also.
And habit, exactly. You just roll over, jump on the phone 15 minutes. Boom, 15 turns into 30. Now you're on the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you keep that time there,
exactly. So even if even if someone said no time, like you say, everyone's got a phone, everyone goes on their phone. Their phone is their personal thing. They definitely have screen time of some sort. You know what I mean? And now, even so, the people that have like say 3 hours to screen time, okay, then you can start auditing other times. But I feel like the main thing is to start there. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the screen time in the morning is the main thing I'd incorporate in order to change, almost instantly. You know what I mean? You feel fresher and things like that as well.
Exactly.
And then I feel like the meditation is definitely something good to start like the day.
That's just
where
like
you want to be. You know
a realization and accountability, like you said, to
be with yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Because,
and I was going to bring that back to the science of it as well, because the science of it shows again, if you can plan out your morning, like it doesn't have to be first thing in the morning, but before the rest of your day, for example, you can plan out your morning. That makes you feel obviously a little bit better, because you're like, I'm doing something. Yeah. I know what I'm going to do. Okay, now I'm up. Yeah. You know, and that's a mental win already for your morning. You don't even have to just wake up and be like, shit, I got to get ready for work. Got to start doing this, do this, get my food, blah, blah, blah. So if you set that 10, 15 minutes ahead, like in your mind, meditate, relax, then okay, I'm going to set my timer, 15 minutes, meditate. When that hits, then I'm going to plan the rest of my day.
Well, that's wild, exactly. Like, now that you say that, bro, it takes me back to like, remember at school and things like that? When you in home, blah, blah, you're waking up in the morning, your mom is like, yeah, Kyle, the previous night, go get your stuff ready for school tomorrow. Yeah? They already instilled that habits to go be able to do stuff. So you're not waking up and rushing and forgetting stuff, impeding on your morning. But now we don't do it to check. Yeah. Imagine I want to start, now that I remember that, do that, get my work stuff ready the previous night. So now I'm waking up, I know what I'm going to wear. Takes time, because sometimes I literally thought about it the other morning. I'm in the closet like, should I chuck this on? Nah. Chuck this on? Nah. And I just planned it the night previously and just chucked it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah. Bruh, then I'm out that door.
That's
lunch
a big
is packed,
thing.
Everything, you check.
Yeah, like everyone's like, well, not everyone, majority is like very blasé about their day.
Chilling, we wake up,
what happens, kind of thing.
Like, if you were that serious about the time, you could achieve a lot of things, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. Because time, like they say, time's a very, very big thing, but it's also, you can't get the time back. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if you're out there, a lot of people say, now, like I used to do this, bruh. Yeah. Like I speak on a grounds of, I've done this myself as well. I used to think, it'd be nice if I do that. Just reminiscing. Like, where's my, so my phone, where did I want to go? So Jay Shetty, on his podcast, he brought on this one bruh called Ed Milet. And Ed Milet is this business mogul, entrepreneur, business and things like that, but also has a really, really good relationship with God. You know, solid and things like that. He came from grew up rough, rough background, all that. His dad was an alcoholic and all the things like that as well. And in one of these things that he said, he speaks about the power of one more.
Yeah, I remember you
I was telling
this.
Yes, and he speaks about the power of one more. And I actually got this on the front of as a screensaver on the front of my phone, saying just one more. Because the thing is, how he explains it is that one more, and that meaning is attached to an emotion and a feeling. Because when you say you're just one more, why are you saying one more? Because you have a feeling towards something. You have to have an emotion towards something. If I'm, you upset me 10 times, and I'm like, yo, just one more time, just because I have that love for you, you know. Let me give this one more, you know what I mean? That's what he says. So he explains like, yo, his dad was obviously alcoholic and things like that as well. His dad was drinking for years, blah blah, all those things like that. You know what I mean? Driving to the baseball game this one day, and his dad just starts crying. He's like, yo, Dad's never cried in front of me. Dad's a tough guy, blah, all this stuff. You know what I mean? He goes, hey Ed, I want to stop drinking. Just one more time. He's like, yo, Dad, like, why? You know, he's like, why do you want to do that? I've heard you say this before. You know,
what's the difference?
He's driving, pulls the car over, and he goes, because I love you. And then he said that emotion that was attached to that, you know what I mean? And he's like, you're not asking you to do it for another week or another. He's like, why? What about next year? He's like, because I don't know. All I can say is I'm gonna try just for one more day. And the best you can do is stack that one more day on top of each other. And he's like, that one more day became 30 years. Man never drank for the rest of his life, bruh. Changed his whole life around. You know what I mean? So even for people watching or whatever the case may be, like if you attach it to a feeling. So when you're sitting there, you're like not like, yeah, I'll get it done tomorrow, because then that means the feeling wasn't strong enough. You know, that emotion there wasn't actually true. It wasn't. There was a facade of something that you're like, yeah, just the dopamine hit. You know what I mean? So if you have a true feeling about something, you actually get up and do it. You know what I mean? That's the main thing. I feel like that's a good thing to take away from that morning routine. The morning routine. If you have if there's really an emotion, a feeling of the wanting to do something, you know, if there's an emotion attached to it and a feeling that, hey, this will actually benefit me in some way, you're there half the step. And just remember, like, just try it. If today wasn't the day, one more time tomorrow. Don't just give up, you know.
And say, I didn't do it last time.
Exactly. That one more stacking up is much more better than you saying no for 7 days than going, let me one more time today, not working, one more time today. You know, at least you're trying something. You know, so.
And that also adds up to the mental, like, perseverance. You know, like if someone tells you no, it's not going to be like no cut off forever in the terms of business, for example. Like if someone's like, nah, your idea is cuck. It's like, okay, let me try one more. I've engraved it in my head,
Exactly that.
Like that habit has formed.
Like you think of it, all the business people in the world, their ideas are not genius ideas. People only think of them as genius because, like, you know what I mean? Like,
took more effort.
It took more effort, exactly. They just tried. How many times did they fail? Like, is it Thomas Edison, the brother that done the light bulb guy? So they don't talk about he's failing 999 times prior to that. Then the 1000th time, over the 1000th, was the light bulb. You know, but they don't say anything about the failure.
It gets forgotten. Like that. You know the hard work always gets forgotten.
Exactly.
Bro.
And like and things like that. So like people often forget the struggle. They just see the end result. And that's why people are like, nah, that guy's superhuman. That guy's, this guy's a millionaire, blah, blah. But they don't, like they say, you know, that's why millionaires are millionaires, because of the work and the hard work that they put in. They're not scared to fail. You check. They're not scared to fail. They can tell you 1,000 stories about failure. But you know what I mean? That's it, bro. That's what I wanted to tell you. When someone who's successful and things like that as well, who have routines, who, you know, they can tell you 1,000 of stories of how they got there or how it happened. They can only tell you one success story.
Exactly.
Because when they're successful, it happens, boom, and then what you make of that now. You can't become successful again. You're already successful. But they can tell you 1,000 stories of how they got out to, and they made to be successful, all the obstacles and stuff. And those are the things to learn about. But people don't see that. You see what I mean?
They just want the end result.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
I was gonna say back to
yes.
the
We actually got a chip there. Let me see, chips getting stale here.
We got two kinds, sweet chili and honey soy. It's a bit mixed. But back to morning routines. What I was gonna ask, which you've already brought up one, but an example of a successful morning routine or a person, for example. And one we brought up was The Rock. But again, you can choose another one, but just one for argument's sake now. And then we can go on like the benefits of that, any adaptations we can make, you know, or what we think would be better for us
Rock
personally.
Is a good one. And then also, let's say, contrasting one would be Tony Robbins.
Okay.
You know Tony Robbins is?
No, I don't.
Tony Robbins is another like motivational speaker, like does books, and like he talks about morning routines and he talks about priming. Have you heard about priming? Yeah, so he does that like breathing and that type of breathing. It's you know, say 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things you appreciate and love. That's the priming that he does. You know what I mean? Like 3 things that you want to achieve in the day and all that things, and he does it every single day. And that breathing that he does, he said it just gets his body has now like subconsciously adapted to that method, you know what I mean, of priming himself, not only for life and for, because he's like, how he looks at it is, if someone has kidnapped your family and your back's against the wall, you will go out there and achieve whatever the case may be. So when he primes himself, he goes out every single day, like on that mentality.
Like backs against the wall.
There's no other. There's nothing else.
If I don't do this,
if I don't do this, then what? Cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's like a lot of people. These people are coming in and letting people essentially kidnap their family for free.
Yeah.
Hold yourself ransom for free.
No fighting back.
No fighting back. No nothing. All you're saying is, yeah, safe. I'll try that tomorrow again.
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow. And if you think of it in that sense, you're like, yo, do I really not have love for my family? Because you know what I mean. If you go down that path, like you like, okay,
that's hitting me like hard,
you know, exactly. Like is an emotion attached to other people rather than yourself? That's what he says literally on the thing, and I'm like sitting there like.
But that's a bit too harsh for most people, you know, to think about.
Nah, 100%, bro.
But I'm like definitely listening now that you're saying it.
You know, and things like that as well. Like, and that's the main thing. What I found as well is like people, like he says, it's tough to look at other people that's been successful that you don't know. It's easy to take and accept nods and things and learn from people that are successful within your own circle. That's why they say when you friend groups and things, you need to be with people who surround yourself with people who's like-minded, who wants to succeed, because the way you guys, the gist of how you guys talk and things like that is elevated. You know what I mean? Rather than just low vibrational people that's just
blasé,
exactly,
day to day.
Exactly. You don't want to be like, he explains it like those, those Energizer batteries. He's like, you want to be the battery pack or you want to be the battery?
Yeah,
you know, he's like, there's certain people in life who's the battery pack and certain people who's the battery. We the battery packs, because when people come to us for ideas, for whatever, we brighten their day up. When we walk into rooms, we brighten the room up. We're battery chargers for other people because we brighten their day up and cook. And then often when we come home, we feel drained. Because
we've given everything.
We've given our all energy, and that's just unfortunately people how we are as people. We give our all for people and energy. We never tired in that aspect. Because when we give large. You know what I mean? And that's how we come back. We're like, we're tired than most people. You know, you can't sometimes when you come home from work, whatever the case was from train. It's one session. You're like, hey. That was tough, but it's all the talking that you've done, all the demonstrating, all the helping, all that takes a lot of energy.
The emotional energy and
we always readily
social battery. It takes a toll.
Exactly, it takes a toll on people. You know, so time once again, coming back to the morning thing with Tony Robbins, the priming gives you a time to get away from all of that, all the fast-paced lifestyle and all that things. That's where the meditation comes in.
And in terms of Tony's priming, what does he do for people that don't know?
So he does this 15-minute like breathing where he will go
like
in,
Wim
like
Hof or
like not like just like this type of breathing. So he'll go, and when he breathes out, it's like a fast, like that. And what happens is your pineal gland is in the top here in the middle point. Like people call it third eye or that stuff. It releases DMT.
Okay.
When you breathe, your body gets to a certain level, in a certain state.
I didn't know that.
So what happens when you start breathing? I can really start sweating you. If you do that 3 times, breathe in slowly through your nose, and then when you breathe out, you, short and all the air out, then go back in. Do that 3 times. You check, you release the blood in your body, you feel you start warming up. Your hands will start warming, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can actually feel
you feel that.
Like tingling.
Like that. And he does that for 15 minutes, bro.
Sure.
Like, and you know what I mean? So like he does that, and he said releases that DMT effect where he on that level, he's on such a spiritual level that he can then make decisions in life. That's the benefits. You're seeing it with a clear mind and your outer body. Exactly, you're there looking at it like nothing can go wrong. If this is the choice that you make, that's that gut feeling people talk about. You know what I mean?
Like no plan B. It's just one way.
And then also he talks about that's a good point to reflect on things, on life, on people in your circles, on time, on things like that, because that's when you're like looking at it from the most clearest point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And things like that. So I'm like, hey, that's like definitely, that's like on a different. And it's crack up because I was actually Mikey called me the other day. And he started talking about, I'm been doing this priming Tony Robbins for a few months. I'm like, what the heck? Yo, bro. So he'll start talking. Because he accidentally called me, but then he put down. And I'm like, what's the nigga called me for? Called the nigga back up. It's like, yo, Mike, you good? He's like,
I need to get him on a podcast.
And he's like, yo, you good? He's like, yeah. Oh, sorry, your name. You're just the last person I speak to. I don't speak to anyone else. But I was trying to call my brother, but your name was below, so I just clicked it while I was listening to this podcast. called him back. I was like, hey, no, so you're available? Well, we start talking. He's like, yeah, I've been doing this priming, Tony Robbins. You know who that is? I'm like, yeah. And he was like, when did you go? He's like, probably like a few months, probably when Kian was about to leave, Boca as well. I was like, okay, I told you about Tony Robbins. He's like, yeah, the breathing thing. The breathing thing. And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I've been doing that for a few months, bro. He's like, mean, he's like, hey, it's been really, helping me throughout the day because it's pumping him up for the day and things like that as well. Just to see someone from like, because he's very, very honest, man. Like with the way he explained, open and honest. He's like, yo, I was doing fuck all. Like, I was trying to help the family, but I was just that person thinking like, yo, it'll be nice to be in a house like that. Yo, it'll be nice to do this, nice to do that. Brother, Mun's turned everything around, and I don't even know Mike for that long, but the way that he explained to me that how he was versus what he's doing now, I'm like, yo, that is wild, bro. Like, books do actually, people that want to, like, that's an emotion, bro. That man's has attached a connection to that thing where every morning the man's listening to an hour of, the man finished the audio book the other day that I told him in like a week, bro. Sure. Like, so that emotion that's attached to that is crazy, you know what I mean? And when people see the benefits, and he has seen the benefits in his own life, you know what I mean? Where he's like, hey, it's working for me, so it must be something good. And if this is like, he goes, I see anything, I'm like, I'm looking for signs and whatever the case may be. So Lee, she's Mrs. She went to the pokies, put $40 in the pokies, got 4K. But he's like, hey, I take it as the universe or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just dying, but he's like, but hey, I'm pushing every day, priming, doing this, blah, blah, and think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I definitely feel, what was I saying? That Tony Robbins
priming. And on that, would you adapt anything with that priming? Because you've obviously tried it, right? Would you change anything or does anything work a bit better for you, or do you just do it exactly how he does it?
I just do it like that because the thing is how I see how any method that when something comes out with this Pythagoras theorems or random, the reason why it worked, they named it that is because it works.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've tried different methods where I've like done the 15-minute, but like done 5 minutes on and 5 minutes off. But after the 5 minutes that I've done it, when I try to relax with it and try to meditate, you like lose that connection, that focus. Yeah, because now I'm just still, instead of the breathing. So I've tried like that where it doesn't really, you're in and out, you know what I mean?
You don't have to focus on something too much.
But I've also tried it where it's like, in order for it to really, really work, you want to, before you go into that meditation stage, you don't want to be on your phone. You don't want to be watching worldly like videos and random, like listening to like, you can listen to music safe. But you don't want to be listening to bitch, that killed, brother, or that shooter, then about to go into meditation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like also like that. Don't get me wrong, I've listened to music and stuff like that. So I've tried like literally right before in a movie, whatever. Then I go into, morning routine and meditate where I felt like I'm thinking I'm doing it. But now I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah,
because I can feel, and exactly, and honestly in those times, now that I look back at them, I can say there was zero connection. Because I could feel it. And the times that I was connected, I can also feel it. You know what I mean? Where like I've woken up properly, didn't go on my screen, put a podcast on or something to there, and I'm doing this morning thing, and then I'm like, okay, now do meditation. Then I do that priming number, 15 minutes of that, I felt that thing like I was anything that I was thinking about or anything. I didn't want to get out of it, you know what I mean? Because you're that zeroed in, you're thinking about a lot of different things. And it like brings such an array of different emotions on you, bro. Like one I was just sitting at the beach, and I was doing obviously not the priming, but a different meditation. And I was just sitting there, and I was just thinking. I was in such a deep meditational state and focus that I literally started crying out of nowhere. Then I'm like laughing, but it's all these emotions that was going on in my head and things like that, where I was so connected, and it felt so like I was going through things and replaying them to be able to fix them and reflect on them and things like that. But it was literally, I was just sitting there, when I opened my mouth, I was like, yo, I'm at the freaking beach. You know what I mean?
I have to recalibrate.
Recalibrate, and I was just sitting there, breathing, looking out, and I was like, just appreciating the water and the vast ocean, I was just sitting on the beach like, yeah.
Hard.
And
now, because we've got Tony's, like, what I wanted to do with getting like a person, like a successful person's morning routine, is now we've got Tony's one that you think benefits the most, which is his priming. And then what can you say for The Rock, for example, as a contrast? What's the biggest one you can take from him?
So with Tony Robbins, he wakes up definitely later, and he talks about doing his doing his morning, whatever he does in the morning, reading, but whatever the case. But the priming is very much the start of his morning, but it's like I think he said 6. That's 3 hours after The Rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So The Rock, on the other hand, he uses that time and allocates. I feel like he's gotten to the stage where he realizes that he's so busy and things throughout his day that he has found that time to allocate for himself. And that's what he uses to increase his knowledge and his spirituality and whatever the case may be, whatever he does, you know what I mean, in the morning. But I don't think he's not really a God-fearing person in that aspect.
Okay.
He's more into, like, he's very, very focused on routine. Like, he'll go to the gym, work out. He needs to do certain things. Religiously go to the gym, you know what I mean? He'll be there and he's doing other business things in the morning and, like, doing all his investment, or what he said, all his investments, all the things that he's involved in, he does that in the morning. Because, like he says, he's also a battery charger. So the time that he goes out and when other people actually awake and things like that, he now needs to expend energy. Because, you know what I mean? So that's the time in the morning he spends charging himself up. You know what I mean?
Getting
and things
himself
like that.
ready for
So for him, he obviously realizes that it takes him a lot to give energy to other people and things like that. So he wakes up earlier, like 3 hours before Tony Robbins, for example, wakes up at 6 just to do that priming where he primes himself and feels like he has the capacity to take on the day from that. Whereas The Rock, obviously, he said, he even talks, I think there's one time talks about the ADHD thing, when he's like, he's all over the place and things like that as well. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like that, where Tony Robbins is a much quieter guy and very much, and things like that as well.
Yeah, that's good too. Like, even just hear about now, because then just listening, like, I can take obviously 2 things from both of them, but understanding yourself first of all is going to be the most important, because obviously, like, some people will be like The Rock, where they need their own time first before they can do anything to help other people, and then some people are just, as soon as they're up, they're ready to help people, ready to give, like, whatever they got, whereas, like, for me, I'm like not 50-50, but like somewhere in the middle. Like, some days I can wake up and I'm charged, I can come, I don't have to do anything. I can just go straight to work. I'm on, ready to go. Whereas some days, like, I'll need to wake up earlier, get my mind ready. But then again, like, to what you say, it's to do with the previous night. Makes a big difference in your sleep and then your wake up.
I think one of them, I'm not sure if it's Tony Robbins, but he talks about habits. No, it's this doctor called Dr. Michael Gabor. He appears on Jay Shetty's podcast and he talks about habits. And he talks about creating habits. And he's like, it takes 21 days to create a habit, right? So he said most people can't even get to the 21 days. That's why they can't see what they can achieve. But he's like, when you create that 21 days, or when you create that habit in yourself, he's like, most people are more comfortable by creating bad habits because they're surrounded by bad habits. You know what I mean? So you're more inclined to do something bad. We're like, yo, let's do this rather than this, because obviously you're surrounded by that. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, say for instance, if you put yourself
easy route.
Exactly. If you put yourself and go live with the CEO of a company for a week,
you'll pick up all the tendencies.
You're waking up in the morning, you're on. You're not, and even for yourself, that you're not the CEO, you're still going to be dialing everything that might be done. You know what I mean? So you're going to be waking up like, yay. Okay, we up. What? You don't want to be there in a suit. You're not going to be dressing a part wrong because you're not elevated company. You know what I mean? He's like, why do we not do that to ourselves? Why don't we not treat ourselves like elevated company? And give ourselves the ability to increase our own knowledge and things like that as well. You know what I mean? And he's like, 21 days is not. It flies by, because he's like, when we're having fun and we can look back, yo, that month flew by.
Yeah, true.
Why not just incorporate a habit every single day that they can do for that 21 days? Something that you do every single day. And he's like, not, and he talks about not throughout the day, at a specific time, because it trains your brain. It puts it writes a carbon copy in your brain, like, hey, at this time I'm locked in.
That's what I was going to say. Back to the science of it. It's called the circadian rhythms, which your body works on that 24-hour clock. Whereas if you, like, after 21 days, if you do it at a certain time, like I was facing with you waking up, like, your body's used to it, It's like you're facing, it's a habit. You don't even need to tell yourself. It's kind of like your body has a timer on it. Like, I'm meant to be somewhere. Like, I'm meant to be gymming. I gym every day. Why am I not gymming now?
Exactly. It actually feels like you're missing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And things like that. So, like, Even like break it down, like morning routine, I definitely think it's important. And I don't think if you don't have a morning routine, definitely I feel like if there was a study done, I'm not even sure if I need to look into this. If there was a study done on someone that just starts their day and tackles whatever they need to do without a morning routine versus someone who does have a morning routine.
Yeah,
I feel like,
want to see that, honestly.
How would that look in case of productivity, first of all? I feel like, well, my brain wants to say that the person who doesn't have the morning routine is crashing out early, is a little bit all over the place. Where the person is there much more structured, and you're like, okay, I'm getting this done, this is the goal, this is this. You know what I mean?
It's like a lot of time wasting and all of that if you don't have a plan, for sure.
And then I've even met people that are like, yeah, because I work better through chaos. Like, no, you work better because you're comfortable in that mindset. You know what I mean? And that's why you feel like, hey, chaos.
You're used to that.
You're used to that freaking fast pace. Where if you actually sit down, you're like, hey, what do I now do? You don't know what actually to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was having that discussion with Kurt, actually. Like, people are so stuck in their ways. Like, for example, let's just say me, if I'm like cooking for everyone, and then someone else offers to cook, but I will still then go help or make something else on the side. I'm still stuck in my ways, even though someone else said they're gonna do it. I'm still gonna go do it because that's what I'm used to doing, instead of just relaxing, letting them do it. Taking that time to chill out. It's just that habit is formed.
Exactly, that habit. It's hard to get rid of the habits. You don't even know you have a habit until someone takes it away or you stop doing it, and you're like, hey, looking,
then you feel lost.
Exactly, you feel lost, literally.
I was talking to Kurt about that today, actually.
Well, if you went into anyone's house and you literally flipped off their Wi-Fi,
they'll be lost.
Bruh, they'll be lost. Literally, this lady, I was on the phone, this lady at work, and she goes, hey, well, she goes, we're calling up about the flippin' Dodo Wi-Fi. She's like, yo, that's basically, that Wi-Fi's cocked. What did you put me on here? My goodness got exams and stuff. You know what I mean? In whatever the case may be. But she's like, no, they're going into exams. But anyway, she's on the phone there, boom, the internet's now off. Brother, on the phone, yo, mom, what's the Wi-Fi? I'm like,
it's like world wars happening.
World wars, bro.
Yeah,
bro. Internet, bro. Those people don't even know where to start, bro. Like, it's crazy what the internet. You know what I mean? Because if you turn it off, what do people do with their own time? What do you do with your own time? What do I do with my own time? Like when you're not on the phone or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Like, it cracked me up today. Like,
lost people are lost. Yeah.
Lokes, like, actually goes, picks up his phone. He's like, yay, 3%. Okay, I need to charge it to 50, so that means about an hour nap. Like, not to make that example, but the man goes to sleep, but I wait for the phone to charge. You check, and Loke's not even on his phone a lot, but that just cracked me up to say how many other people do that. Like, hey, I'm actually gonna go sleep now. When I wake up, the phone's gonna be fully charged.
That's crazy. Like, oh, my phone's dead. I need to go sleep, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And just like finalizing now, because we're obviously gonna go back. I think we're gonna have another EP on this.
We have to turn this into the night show.
But just finishing like on morning routines, like practical tips, like not so much like what you should do, blah blah blah, but physically, like what can help you, like with one morning routine, like for example, meditating. What's something that physically gets you out of bed to do that, like practical side, and then what helps you stick to that, like you're saying, for that 21 days, like we touched on connecting an emotion, so that you can stay there, but like for yourself, like if it is connecting to an emotion, if you don't mind, like sharing a bit about that, like what gets you out of bed to do that meditation, because a lot of it is like the motivation of getting out of bed or the laziness.
Even definitely, that, like, even like last night, bro, like, I was lying in bed, and I was thinking today, I was like, the emotion that, for me, that it's attached to, is sort of like, I realized last night that, one, about time, you can't get time back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I realized that my parents, my Bali and my Tani, they're getting older. You know what I mean? I'm losing time with them that I'm not spent with them. And so obviously time is very, very precious. You know what I mean? And most people obviously don't realize that what time is until someone's gone.
Too late.
Too late and things like that. You know what I mean? So that like that, I'm like, yo, my body's now 60. And some people's, body in that time is already gone, and things like that. So I'm like, hey, my body in them are now 60. It's been nearly 7 years now since I haven't seen them. That's when my body was like 53. I was like, yo, you know what I mean? Now he's 60 now, you know what I mean? And things like that. And I was like, I need to get over to see them in order to do that. These things that I'm doing here, I know it's been proven, and I know that people who are doing it are successful in that aspect. So for me, I'm going to do that.
Just committing.
And that emotion is why I'm doing this, because I want to create time up. Because right now, I don't have time for myself.
Yeah.
And time is keeping me as a prisoner, is how I like to see it.
Yeah.
It's keeping me as a prisoner because I can't do anything. And because I don't have time and I don't have money. Now the money thing comes into, because now you want to work consistently. Yeah, you want to have money on payday 100%. But I want to have more to give myself that ability, like all the successful people do, to go and visit whoever I need to be, to go see my parents, and in case something happens. Because right now,
freedom,
I'll be able to make ends meet to get to South Africa, but comfortably, in case anything happens to my parents now, I'll be like, nah, you know what I mean? So for me, that right now, that's the emotion, to be able to free up time and to get to that stage where I'm not even having to worry.
Yeah.
I can just go over to see my Bali and them and things like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the past, before obviously that realization, it was just the fact of like, okay, the main attachment for emotions for me is I don't want to work for other people, because that how I used to see it, and well, I still see it, is the same level. You go to work, we go to work every day on time. You check.
Yeah.
You have to have discipline and a diligence to be able to do that. So why do you not put the same flippant discipline and diligence into yourself?
Personal well-being and
into
stuff.
your own stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Up.
Why? Because
you'd rather do it for
other people, bro. And like it pisses me off for that shit, because I do it to my fucking self. Like you do the same shit, you know what I mean? And you get into that circle, and that's where people like the shoulds and the musts, bro. You know. So like, I guess that's what it is. Like it comes down to that emotion that you want to attach to. But also for me, physically, I couldn't get up in the morning, so I'd have to put my phone on the opposite end of the room, bro. With 12 alarms. No kidding you, I'd show you the alarms. It goes from 4:15, 4:20, 25:30, 35:40.
Sure.
It's to be able to get up, and like I realized that I have to do that because one, in the past, like smoking was incorporated. So when I'm blazed as hell, I'm going to bed, can't wake up. So I have to 12 alarms, go to fucking cross the room, you know what I mean?
Must get
like wake this ass up and go turn that shit off. And I can then choose at that moment in time to be like, hey, I can either get back in bed or I can stay up because I know that next alarm is on.
Yeah.
You know, and then I started to take them off snooze. I started to, like, if I turn that alarm off, it goes off. You know what I mean? It doesn't snooze for 5 minutes or what the case. So there's no snooze.
Yeah.
So I started to get to that stage. And now I'm at the stage where I only have like 2-3 alarms. And the ones I know my body clock gets up around that time anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So doing that, trying that, and putting the phone on the other opposite end of the room.
Okay.
So when you get up and turn that alarm off, you can make that decision for yourself at that point in time and say, hey, do I want to get back in bed and sleep? Or do I want to get up and actually do whatever I want to do?
So you're a little bit more conscious of the decision you're making, rather than just automated.
Automated, because, bro, I've done that.
Everyone has.
You sleeping. No.
Everyone has,
You turning that thing off in the sleep.
Yeah.
And you wake up like a 2 hour later.
Have to open,
And so it's crazy. So that's why I took the phone, put it on the other side of that. But then also getting everything ready the previous night is another one.
That's
another big one, you know? Yeah. And like if you could try just one of those things, and next time even we come back to do the next ep, we can now say, I've done this, or I've tried this, and how did it go, and things like that as well, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So that's definitely it. But like this is a very, very good one, because there's like a lot of different morning routines, man. Because there's a lot of different people and how different people start their day. You know what I mean? Like if there's some millionaires that I've got, this one man, I'll find him tonight. He wakes up at, his work is on the other side of the world. So he works in the mornings. So he wakes up like 1:30 p.m., just lums, starts work 9 p.m. to like 3:34. Like random shit like that. So there's these routines obviously way different to everyone else's. You know what I mean? Like Iman Gadzi, this one YouTuber man talks about the monk mode. He talks about this monk mode. I think he might have got it from the book, because there's the book Think Like a Monk, which is Jay Shetty. And then there's Iman Gadzi, who talks about monk mode, going into monk mode, and what that entails. You know what I mean? You have your non-negotiables that you do. You know, I'm telling you. Perfect. So this man, he's got a house in Cape Town that he goes to, bruh, to get away to do his monk mode.
Sure.
So he does that for 3 months of the year, where he locks himself down in that house. He doesn't move, bro. And he's locked into businesses that he's doing, and he's organizing his, you know, his work for the rest of the year, like meetings. But he does it in South Africa, in Cape Town. Like takes himself completely away. You know what I mean? So to be able to do that in order to help himself and things like that, where he understands, like, hey, I'm a party man. I go out, I drink, I do all that stuff. So in order to do that, his friends know. Like when he says, "Yay, I'm going to Mangwa," they know, "Yay, this man's flying to South Africa. He's slumming there." And if you want to see him, we're flying to South Africa. You know what I mean? But he's there, it's locking in, bro, doing his thing.
Yeah, and that's when you know when it's like not locked in, but when it's either a habit or it's becoming a habit. When the people around you know what's happening. You know, or like for example, like for me, like I know in the morning, like if I call you and you don't answer, there's only like really one explanation: you at the gym. You know, like, and that's because you form that habit. You know, and then people around you know it. Similar to that man. Like he's going there, they know, yeah, he's going. If we need to reach him, we must go there.
We must go there, exactly. So creating that habit and for people to run, and that's like, it's amazing that you say that, bro, because like, what was I gonna say? You see the blaze cock again.
In terms of gymming, and then that bro was doing the same thing, going to Cape Town, his friends all.
Yes. So his friends, they know that he's in monk mode and things like that. You know what I mean? Even for us, like we're scared to say and speak out on our peers, to be like, yo, I'm actually doing this, and then to scare what they're gonna say, because I've seen it many a time. You know what I mean? People do this, and then they're like, yay. The friends be like, hey, no, we're actually gonna do this, and like, actually, I'll do that next week. I've seen it at home, even with like little things. I was telling Lokes the other day with Sai and all of them. You know what I mean? They say, I'm gonna do this. Boom, they're unlocked in, including myself, whatever. And then they're like, are we doing this? Are we going? Oh yeah, what is it? I'll start it next week again. Boom, it's easy, you know, to do that. Whereas if I feel like for people, when they, you know, like these successful people, when they say, "Yay, I'm going to this monk mode," they really going into this monk mode. And their friends don't message them saying, "Yo, let's go out this weekend or what." They've made that decision to go to the monk mode. Then they know, yay, it's over.
It's done,
you know, it's now. You know what I mean? And that's the difference, I feel. Whereas like, for me to get in the past and even now to get to something to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this or do that, it'll take me a few, almost like trial runs, I call it, which I don't necessarily want. There's the shoulds and the must, and you know, and things like that. I don't want to do the trial. If I'd say something like, now I just want to be like brain, but I'm not at that stage yet. I feel like my brain, my mental is that strong to be able to be like, hey, right here, right now, boom, let's get it done. You know, and I want to get to that area, you know, where I can be like, hey, I'm going to monk mode now, boom. So that's why I just started reading Think Like a Monk again. I was on a page, I think 200 and something. You know what I mean? But it's funny, I tell you, like, I always think of it like sometimes it might be the Lord, so whatever the case may be. I was at the beach, I was reading the book, and I was thinking of facing you, and like the bookmarker was in the book, and I was like thinking about, like, I'm not connecting with the book, man. I was reading, I was like, hey, I read 30 pages here, then tomorrow or the next day, 2 days, I won't read. And then the next day after that, I'll read again, information will be muddled up. I'll remember some of it, I won't remember that. Then I was thinking at the beach, like, I was doing one of the meditation, and this again happened at the stage where I was at I feel like most connected, you know, with this meditation that morning at the beach. And I was sitting there, like, thinking, like, you know, like, hey, I've been reading this book, and I was looking at this book, man, like, with water, and I was like, hey, they say you need to be, you know, you must be like water in that aspect of the way that you adapt to things, and the way that, you know, because if you put water in any crack, when it goes in there, wherever it will find a way. So we need to adapt to things, obviously, be like water and things like that. You know what I mean? For me, I was like, I haven't adapted and applied this book into my life. You know, and things like that as well. When I've, you know, like, there's certain chapters and things, you know, that I've taken, I'm like, yo, that's it. You know, that resonates hard with me, because I'm so connected that I understand what he's meaning. But other times I'm reading over it and I don't understand. So then I'm like, okay, I really need to start this book again and like actually take in what I'm reading. But I'm like, pick the book up, boom, the bookmark fall out. I don't know where I am in the book. Exactly, I don't know where I am. So I'm like looking at this book and I'm holding it. And I'm going through, you know, sometimes you can tell in the book most where you were, even if it's closed. But nothing. Like, the book just look, I was like, what the flip is going on here? And then only the way I found out where I was because the previous night I was listening to the audiobook on my phone, but none of the other chapters were open besides the chapter number 7 and it was 30. So I knew I was in chapter number 7. I went to the chapter, it was page 287. And I was like, yo, I'm that far. You know what I mean? And I was like, then I closed it again and I was like, okay, go through the chapters. Like, what can I tell myself that I learned from chapter 3 where it talks about identity?
Just nothing came to your head.
Nothing came to my head. That's the moment I knew. I was like, safe. The bookmark fell out. I'll start again.
Yeah.
Started that. I reading from the beginning again. And I was like, okay, now I'm
starting
to pick up exactly what I'm trying to actually implement, because there's a lot of different things like auditing your time and things like that. You know what I mean? In the analogies and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me to summarize, just to like from what I've learned there. So first thing is Jay Shetty. Is it Shetty?
Yeah, bruh.
Think Like a Monk. That's a huge book for
monster, bruh.
In terms, not only just morning routines.
Not only, but anything, bruh.
Yeah.
Anything.
Just lifestyle.
Anything. Like that man is highly sought after, like good with like Kobe Bryant, Patrick David Bett, all these people. But I talk to Jay Shetty because the path that he has taken to go from studying law and all this stuff to just saying, hey, I'm going to leave all that cock and then going to the ashram to become a monk.
That's like polar opposites.
That's polar opposites, bruh.
Yeah.
Like,
and especially in today's world, like a high, not paying job, but like a high sort of job.
Exactly.
Everyone like would like to be a lawyer or something.
You know,
and he's just like, nah.
To leaving that to go being a monk, and he's like, yo, from beds to sleeping on mats, those thin yoga mats. He's like, that's what all of them in the temple just sleep in one of those. You got two changes of clothes. So your robe that you're wearing, and that's it. And the robe that you're sleeping, and the robe is in the night.
Yeah.
That's it. He's like, that's it. And he's like, the internet there is so, like in the book he says, like the internet is so slow. It's like on dial-up the way he explains it, you know what I mean? But from there, it's like the way the monks like explain things and like giving them analogies and things like that, they like open up your mind to give you ways to think differently, you know what I mean? And things like that. I feel like that would be, bruh, that would be a crazy experience. Like going to a monk, I know
what you're saying. I don't know what it's called.
Like where the monks go.
And
just go spend like a few days there and see how they operate. Because obviously you would have no phone. You'd have, like the way he's doing the book is no phone. You'd be there, like no internet, no nothing. You just
learning
most of your time
deal with yourself.
And most of the time you'd be spent listening. Because that's what monk. If you've ever been around a monk, he says they don't do much talking. Because they've been taught to listen. And then you hear and you learn a lot from someone when you listen. You know what I mean, and things like that as well. So that's why none of them speak much, but all of them have got the craziest knowledge because they do readings. They read books, bro. He's like they've got every teaching, every this from Karanga Das to you name it. Monks different, but he's like they don't say much because they listen. You know, they only speak when he's like the best form of, what do they say, the best form of power is silence or knowledge of silence, something like that. That's what they do, bro. They do silent, you know.
Just taking it all in.
And you can never understand. It's like only when they need to intervene or they feel like they can implement a learning, something here to learn, is when they like, boom, they say something. It happens in the book a lot of times. He's like, yo, he's asking the monk, and they say nothing. They're like, yo, you just need to pay attention, blah, blah, blah. And then, boom, when it's time to learn, they say something. It's like, yo, that is actually wild, you know?
Yeah. So we've got definitely Jay Shetty. Then we've also, from what I've taken, the priming. That's another good thing for a morning routine. Just to advise anyone just to try it. I'm definitely going to try it. And then also, there was another one with The Rock. What I took from it is just understanding yourself. If you need time in the morning to, like, charge your social battery or something, or put time into yourself before you can be at your peak for when you start your day, you know? You need to give yourself that time. And then, what was the last one? But what was his name, the priming guy?
Tony Robbins
for the people as well. And then, one that I took as well from your morning routine is, for like a long time, I struggled with same thing as you, like getting up in the morning, having to set a lot of alarms, which I think a lot of people will benefit from, like putting your phone on the other side. So you just like, you have to physically make another decision to get back in bed again, you know?
Because your brain always looks for an excuse. It always looks for a way out. So for me, I like found it, I'm like, hey, There's literally no, who turned off the alarm?
Yeah.
It was me.
Yeah.
Safe.
It's not like you forgot, you were half asleep.
Yeah, no, you got up.
Yeah.
The phone's over there.
You had to wake up, yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, that makes sense.
So that's a big one.
Yeah.
I'll definitely take something, take that away and, try that. So obviously next app will come back and things like that.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is have a look at different people's morning routines as well. Just to see.
Yeah. I'm going to do a lot more
other,
research too.
Things like that as well. So we can talk about it next time and say, this one's maybe better, or this for people that's like this, or or maybe there's morning routines for different types of people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And things like that as well.
Yeah.
But
is there anything else you'd say on morning routines that's key for you before we wrap up? Like besides, because it's not a morning routine, besides the night before.
To have a good morning.
Oh, and I was going to ask, what's your average sleep time? Because that's a big thing for a lot of people. They get up and they feel tired because they didn't have 8 hours or 9 hours sleep.
For me, I go to bed, my sleep time is probably like 10 o'clock. Like I don't usually go to bed, jump in bed just after 9. So I can give my time to get off the screens and just lie there in either darkness or silence, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. So you're about like 6-7 hours.
Yeah, so 10, maybe I would say 10 after, because I don't know what time I fall asleep. Because sometimes I put my AirPods in and listen to like guided astral projections and random stuff like that. But probably so I say 10. Yeah, probably like 6.5 hours usually, 7 hours.
Yeah.
7 hours, 6.5, 7.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like if I don't smoke before 10 and I everything's good, I wake up fine.
Yeah.
I actually wake up fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, I'm like very similar times, but I'm probably like an hour and a half behind. But then that shows in my morning, Yeah.
And that's not even, it's just a few things, tweaking a few things, because I thought the other night, like I was literally at home and I was like, yo, I'm going to go to bed at 9. Then here comes 9 o'clock, like, yo, should we play some cards? And I was like, I was actually just going to lie because my sleep time is 10 o'clock anyway. That's what I was thinking in my brain. I'm like, Then when I went to bed, bro, it was like 11:32. It was late as hell, and I woke up the next morning. Obviously, I was like, woke up, and I woke up, I think, like 5:30 something, and I was like, literally an hour and a half missed. Whether I woke up missed, I'm like, I can't even go to the gym now because by the time I come back, it's work, but all that, and I'm like, bruh.
Like that regret in the morning.
I went to bed at 12, so there's no way I was asking myself to wake up at 4:15 when I went to bed at 12. That's unrealistic. I mean, like, it was me that went to bed at 12 o'clock, so let me wake up at 4. Now you're gonna do yourself an injustice now. Rather sleep, past 5 or 6 hours, then get up, and because you're gonna be worse off.
Yeah. Nah, I get that. That's good though for first session of the morning.
Yeah, that's the first session of the.
But like we said, we're gonna come back, finish off this and see what worked, what didn't work, and then anything we can adapt to it.
Yeah, and even people like that, like when people start commenting and things like that, they can try things as well, and they can let us know, how it went.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that.
Or anything they want to hear us talk about as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you said, like what we're going to be doing, just a quick breakdown. Give us a breakdown of how this is going to run. We need to get, like you said before, you want to get different guests and things coming around and things like that, and on the the show and things like that as well.
Different perspectives and everything.
Exactly, different perspectives and like.
Because information right now is so valuable, bro.
Exactly. And like the biggest thing right now as well is like freedom of speech, but also we say everything, for me as well, like, and I speak for all of us, we say everything from a place of no harm.
Yeah, exactly.
Say that first and foremost. We say everything from a place of no harm and things like that, because no one can say, we talk about, say, for instance, poor, whatever. We grew up in South Africa. No one can come talk about poor, whatever the case may be easier. So I speak sometimes from a thing of, we've been with the poor of the poor. Some friends in Envor were the case with the rich of the rich. We've been traveling athletes. We've been scholarship athletes. We've been all that shit.
Sides.
We've seen both sides. So we speak definitely from a place of no harm. And everyone that we bring on, we have friends of vast different, nationalities and things like that, walks of life. So, you know what I mean?
But it's like you said, like it's surrounding yourself with the like-minded people to elevate you.
Exactly.
And then if you're around that people, then like you said, it's almost like you don't even have to say that I'm not trying to hurt your feelings or anything. You can just like conversate.
Exactly.
And openly,
Exactly. And you can tell a lot with someone of like who they hang out with and things like that. For instance, like, I'm not going to say any names, but this new cunt that I'm now talking to, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, let me just meet the friends and things first, because with people that they hang out with, it's often how they are like. You know what I mean? And things like that as well.
That's where I mucked up on my last relationship.
Yeah. So exactly. So that's the one thing there. You know what I mean? The people who they often hang out with, like Loke says, the birds of the feather flock together. So if they're quite similar, exactly. You know, if they're around their friends and things like that, let's all go. You bring your friends as well.
Yeah.
So I can see how you act.
That's so true,
and you without even saying that, you're like, let's go do a bowling, whatever. Bring 2 of your friends or bring 2 of my friends.
Yeah.
Often they'll say either, and just the normal talking, like you say. But you will see a lot on how they act and how they, because she's gonna be doing what random, you're gonna be talking to the friend here, you're gonna gauge how she acting something there, and then you're gonna like, okay, is this for me or not? You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at the moment. You know what I mean? I'm like, I started doing that because the very first time I actually hung out with this kid, she brought a homie. It was just me. You check? And I was talking to the homies from me, and then we start, talking, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so she's like this, like that. Okay, yep, safe. Now I'm like, okay. Now I'm making more of a decision as to like who she kind of is versus what they say to you. You know what I mean? Because everyone wants to be a certain way and look a certain, like a certain someone to you, because either they're attracted to you or like they like you or something like that. So they don't want to muck up. You know what I mean?
And a big thing on that, like in terms of relationships, from what I've experienced, not obviously everyone, but like especially to do with their friends, because that's obviously who they're going to talk to if they're not talking to you.
Exactly.
You know, and then if you, like for me, I obviously met
So you talk to all of them?
Talk to them, but not on a deep level, you know, of understanding who they are.
You must talk to the friends.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I'm definitely. I need to see which one.
Let's go play some volleyball.
Can we switch sides?
No, that's jokes.
That's correct.
That's actual jokes.
But no, for me, like, especially like, my past relationships, like, she never really hung out with her friends or anything like that.
Yeah.
And to me, like, I didn't take the theory or the factor, like, maybe her friends don't want anything to do with her or anything like that. I thought she's just independent, you know, doing a thing. But then when it comes to it, like later down the track, then you hear like how her friends speak about her or how her friends speak about me.
Yep.
And then I'm like, okay, like where's this coming from? And does this happen every time you speak to them?
Yeah.
When I'm not around, like, are you this other person that I never experienced or anything like that before, you know?
Because when you know, like, you know what I mean? They say when you're alone with them, you can't influence. It's a whole different person. They can't be influenced. But that's also another thing. What I know is in past relationships and whatever the case may be, when someone doesn't have their own life and their own, it's another big red flag for me. Like you're like, hey, because once they start making their life your life, it's over. Because now you're stuck. You know what I mean? Like you say, then it's hard to see because they portray themselves as one person. But then when you start realizing and hearing from, you're like, yay, this is not, now you're in way too deep already.
Exactly.
Like, fuck.
Exactly.
It's out there and I hear you there, bro. But that's also another segment that we can chuck on you on the episode, relationship number, because that's one
that we'll have a couple of us around.
Exactly. Like, because I've went through some wild shit as well, you know, and we can touch on that and things like that as well. So I'm actually excited, bro. Like, we finally got this number together and things like that, you know what I mean?
It's so like we were saying, like on that once shoulds, blah, blah, blah. The podcast was one of those. We should have done it a long time ago, but we're here now. So that's the thing. And again, we're going to keep moving forward.
Yeah. We must press on.
Yeah. Obviously, we're going to come back to the power of the morning routines. But also another episode that we're thinking of doing is digital detoxing. Okay. Like we obviously touched on it in the mornings, in your morning routine, trying to stay off the phone. Yeah. You know, and like kind of make it a reward system or something like that.
It's actually funny you say that. I've got this app on my phone called X Locker. It's an app.
Please elaborate.
So
my mind went everywhere.
Don't worry about the X. There's only one X in this, not like Twitter. X Locker. It's called this app that like it locks apps on your phone. Oh, and so if you activate it, I've got Instagram and Snapchat and Jet on there. So if I press this button on, it takes the apps off your phone.
Sure.
But it's in the background, but it's off. So you can't search it because if you search it, it's so like there's nothing there.
That's dope.
So you can search, if you press it on, X Locker,
X Locker.
So that thing is on. So you can set the things, the times of the day, blah, blah. You turn it on, it'll take off that app. So when you look for it, the notifications don't come through.
That's dope. That's actually
nothing.
dope.
You know what I mean? So if you're on the phone the whole day, like I checked the other day, and then when I turned it off, all these messages, people like, looks like, yo, you can check your phone. I'm like, nah, sorry, I didn't, you know?
I need to do
that. That thing is ruthless.
I definitely need to do that.
So things like that thing is actually, I highly recommend it and things if you want, obviously, if you want about apps and things like that as well, you know what I mean? You know, obviously, like, because the thing is, like, for me, I'm like, yeah, let's get down to the morning thing of, like, getting into a routine, and deleting all the apps and blah, blah. But then, why don't you just keep the phone, still on your phone and have discipline?
Yeah, and just not use it. Because you can just download it just as easy.
You can download it just as easy as deleting it, you know, things like that. But for me, I'm just leave it there and just have this up because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go on it.
Yeah.
But right now, I want to just be off it because when I see the notification, it might just be a distraction. So I want to limit things that I know might be a distraction to me. Yeah. Not necessarily, you know, being like, yo, give me stay off it, blah, blah. So just try and limit the distractions because I know if I see it, I might just go on it.
React to it. Yeah, for sure. All right. EP1.
I appreciate EP1.
Done and dusted. ET Stunting.
Yeah. And
appreciate having you, fam.
That.
But many more to come.
Exactly that. Thank you.
We'll be back for digital detoxing and reclaiming your focus.
Yeah.
We'll finish off this EP. And we'll definitely have more people on for more conversations as well. But for the first couple of ones, we want to keep it nice and intimate, get a bit more deep and stuff like that. And then we'll bring it
intimacy.
Bring it into a bit bigger of a setting. And another one that is definitely going to be done is religion, because that's such a big thing coming into today's world. Whichever religion you're with, or if you're atheist, whatever, just finding out the different viewpoints and then any positives and negatives on each ones and stuff like that. Because, like, for example, without getting into detail about it, like, a lot of the religions have similar traits, but then some things are polar opposites. Yeah. And then a lot of atheists can admit that there is some sort of God or something, but then they don't believe in it, blah, blah, blah. So there'll be lots of things that I'll be like wanting to discuss.
And I've seen some random talk, bro. Like, I saw this one video. It's funny to say that, like, it's always the African churches, bro. Fuck. This priest is like, the God based him that he has to slap the demon out of the bra, bro. You see this? So the man's just standing there, up, and he's like turning there praying on the man, and the man just turned, and it rocked him, bro. Like, just rocked him, and then he starts going, I'm like, nah, that man's screaming. Not because of the demon, the man's screaming because he just got rocked. That reminds me of people getting, you know, in the name of Jesus. Like, nah, man. Yo, that's crazy. That's the force that they get when they start, you know. I'm like, they start rocking them, right? Nah.
That's having a seizure there.
But now I'm excited for, the next episodes. You know, I'm not Dre, but excited for the next episode.
And it won't always be inside. We'll have a few outdoor sessions.
Yeah.
Make it a bit different too. It won't just be podcasts. Have some interviews on public streets and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. That'll be all me.
Keep it low key. We won't give him too much info just yet, but
this is the beginning. I appreciate y'all for checking in. We'll catch you guys soon.
Peace. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
First one done and dusted.